Greetings, Cleveland, and welcome to Creative Focus, the show that illuminates some of Cleveland's most talented and creative artists across the genres of dance, film, music, theater, and visual arts. I'm your host, Cornell Calhoun III, and I'm thrilled to have as my guest landscape and fiber artist, Miss Erica Miller. Erica, welcome to Creative Focus. Let's chop it up.
Thanks, Cal. It's good to be here.
My pleasure. So, tell us about the artistic journey of Erica Miller. How did you come into becoming an artist?
I was, I think, like a lot of people, inspired by my high school art teacher. Okay. I was kind of a shy teenager, and I always liked to draw and write, and she really inspired me to express myself and encouraged me, and I felt great about it. And so then I applied to go to college, Philadelphia College of Art, to study art and really blossom there. And they sort of give you an array of everything. So you study everything from painting and drawing to sculpture and ceramics. And I decided, first I thought I was going to do jewelry making, then I thought I was going to be a printmaker, and then I fell in love with fibers and became a fiber major.
What do you enjoy most about being an artist?
It makes me see the world, I think, in a focused way. Like I'll look at shadows and I'll say, oh, how would I mix that color? And composition, or it just makes me appreciate nature and colors and shadows and design. Just makes my vision more focused.
How would you describe, if you can, your artistic taste?
Oh, that is a hard question.
Your artistic style.
I don't want to be like a photo realist, because I think I would just take a photograph if I wanted it to look like a photograph. So I like it to be expressive. I like you to see the brushstrokes in the painting. I like you to see what my vision is and what my inspiration is. Do
you only paint a landscape? Primarily?
I primarily enjoy landscapes. I kind of want to create a space where the viewer might want to be in that picture, in that sunset, in that sky, in the clouds or whatever. But I realized I live in Cleveland, I should do some cityscapes.
Right.
And so I have done that as well. And they sold well as well. So that was an interesting. I've also done portraits, mostly of pets. People are very hard to do for me. It's very hard for me to capture the essence of a person. I've done a couple, but it's very hard.
When you're painting landscape, is there a particular scene or scenery that you normally use?
I'm very inspired by the lake, being on the lake and water, the reflections, the waves. I also love clouds and sunsets, and sort of what the motion is, what's the light, what's the wind, what's the feeling, the temperature, to try to incorporate all of that in a painting.
So I've got a difficult question for you,
but
it's something that I've always wanted to ask the artist. So as an artist, and you have just naturally favorite colors, do you normally use those favorite colors, or is it based upon, the subject? So, for example, if you really like blue, would you paint a blue tiger or a blue lion? But how do artists see that in terms of colors, and particularly you?
It's a good question. When I paint, I put all my colors, I give a full array on the palette. So I don't just limit it to 2 or 3 colors, even if I know I'm doing sky and water, which are going to be mostly blue or greens and some white or whatever. But I put purple, I put orange, I put pink in there so that I can have all of that ready. And sometimes, I will go to standard colors, but even in that, you'll see a pink in a wave. You want to be able to get a full array and not just stick to simple colors, even though it's very gray here in Cleveland a lot. So I painted one painting that was all gray with a little bit of, and people loved it, but even the gray is mixed with all different colors to make the gray. So I would say I have a full range of colors, and don't just limit it to specific,
or your favorite.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite color? If you could Not really.
No, I think I lean towards blues, calm colors. But I also, one time I was painting, I decided, I'm so tired of painting blue all the time, Erica. Just stretch your vision a little bit. So I painted the water pink. I just did all pink water and kind of a blue sky with a little pink, and it was great. So I try to do that. I try to say, okay, go outside your comfort zone. Try something a little. You can always paint over it if it doesn't work. So just try to do something a little different.
So now your art studio is at the Tower Press Development, Live, Work, Loft building, 1900 Superior Avenue. You know, we're neighbors. And how long have you been there?
I've been there 12 years now, and I just love it. The light, it has huge windows, so even on a gray day, it's beautiful. The light is incredible. It's a great big space, and I love being with the other artists. The whole first floor is all artists, and before COVID, we would get together every couple of months or whatever and meet in somebody's studio and talk about what you're working on, and if you have problems or if you need help or you need some inspiration or you're looking for a framer or something, we would have good exchanges. COVID kind of cut that short a little bit, but we're starting to get back into it. We're having a show coming up in September in the group gallery there. So we're starting to get together this week as well. So we're getting back into a rhythm of being a collaborative kind of space where you can share your ideas and your work with other people.
Yeah, I love it. It's just a fabulous place, and we got great landlords, Dave and Karen Bukowski.
I love having the grill outside.
Right, the grill
sit outside, and
And we actually covered the open studio exhibit, and I'm gonna show the audience a clip of that open studio exhibit. Here it is. Take a look. Tower Press Development.
I think it's a very vibrant and growing community, and I think just seeing all the studio spaces that are growing up around here, it's very vibrant, and there's always lots to do, and there are great places and exhibits and galleries to visit all the time. There's always something happening. I travel a lot, so when I travel, I bring my sketchbooks with me, and I take notes, and I make sketches along the way. I think it gets me to express myself, gets me to see the world in a new way. I look at the trees and I think to myself, how would I do those colors of those leaves? How would I get that shadow? And it influences what I see and my vast horizons. A lot of my work is horizons and vistas and landscapes. And it's grown over the years from my travels, I think, more than anything else. I think if people are touched in some way by what I paint or by my weavings, they like the textures, they like the light, they like the mood, that somehow it touches them, it touches their heart. And if I sell a piece, that's fine too.
Welcome to a world where creativity knows no bounds. Welcome to Creative Focus. I'm Cornell Calhoun III, the host of Creative Focus, the show where we dive deep into the minds of the most talented artists, filmmakers, musicians, actors, and actresses. Join me as I sit down with some of the most inspiring creatives from the Cleveland area and beyond. Discover the journeys, the struggles, and the triumphs of those who bring art to life. This is Creative Focus, where every story matters. And make sure you like and subscribe and hit the notification button so you never miss an episode of Creative Focus. You remember that?
That was great. We had a good crew of people come in, interested in what we did. I sold a couple of paintings.
Wow, yeah. It was. We had quite a crowd.
Yeah, it was nice.
Erica, describe the artistic community in Cleveland.
I think that it's growing. I think the biggest thing that Cleveland has going for it is that space is pretty reasonably priced. I mean, compared to other cities, it's easy to get a studio space, and there's a lot of abandoned buildings now that are being converted to art lofts and studio spaces. And I think people are trying to get together. I myself stick to pretty much the Tower Press people. I don't market myself outside too much of that, but for us, doing ourselves, getting together and doing things, it's a good way to do it.
Well, why don't you market outside? Just don't.
I think I don't know how to do it. I think it's, I go to my studio. I love to do that and be there, and I don't think about even like updating my website or going out and really pushing or being on Facebook. And I think a lot of artists have trouble. My other artist friends have a hard time pushing themselves and publicizing themselves. And it's nice. I rely on my friends and the other people in my studio, but I get a good, I sell a lot of work. So I also haven't felt the need to really feel like, oh, nobody sees my work, because I feel like people do. So I'm happy with that the way it is.
Are there any other challenges that artists face besides marketing and selling their wares?
I don't.
Do you think?
I don't have to support myself as an artist, so I don't have that same pressure. I'm married. I have a husband who supports me, so I have that luxury. But I think I've seen at Tower Press there are people there who are successful and move out someplace bigger. There are other people who don't sell their work and they have to move out because they have to move back home or whatever. So I think some of the challenges is how do you get your work out there? And I know the internet now gives a lot of space and time to people to do that if you know how to use it. But I think it's challenging. I know when I went to college, they didn't tell us anything about how to make a living as an artist. We didn't have a course in that. I don't know if they teach that now. But it was just like, do your work, and how to do it, how to make it look good, but not how to go beyond that when you finish school.
Let's talk about fiber art, because you're the first person I know that is a fiber artist. How did you get into that?
I loved the textiles. I love the handling of it. I love spinning wool. I love carding the wool, dyeing it. You can dye the colors. It's just such a beautiful process. It's a very long and involved process. By the time I can take wool from a sheep, and card it and clean it and dye it and spin it, and then you have to set up the loom. And so it takes hours and hours to do it. And it's very hard now. I finish a piece, and I can't even tell you if I got paid $5 an hour, how many hours it would take for me to have to make a profit on selling it. I do it out of love, and I just, it's a great expression. And I mostly do it for friends and commissions rather than, doing it to sell in a gallery or something like that.
So when you do the fiber art, it's not like a blanket or a comforter, right? It's more.
I do a variety of things. I have woven rugs, which is really fun. I love doing that. It's a tedious process, but it's really great. I get so absorbed in it, it's like you lose yourself. I would just you start weaving, and you suddenly like, oh my gosh, 6 hours have gone by, and you don't realize that. But I've been doing sculptures now. I've also done woven landscapes in wool. So with water and clouds and mountains, because I thought, I'm a landscape painter, maybe I'll transfer that into fiber. But now I'm working on these totem poles. So I weave them flat on the loom, and then I wrap it around and sew it up to a tube. And they're 6-7 feet tall, about this far around. And I've done one, it's almost like totems are kind of tell a story about a person. So I've woven into that my life story of how I went to school, how I went as a camp counselor, and how I met my husband and my children. And so it's a whole story in fiber.
Are there any artists that influence your work? Do you pay attention to other landscape artists and fiber artists?
I do. I mean, historically, there's people like Milton Avery, Wolf Kahn, Jane Wilson are all kind of established artists who I have their books, and sometimes if I'm stuck and I don't know what I want to do, I'll look through some of their work. And if I'm really stuck, I'll even say, let me try to copy that in a way, not to make it an exact copy, but to use it as an inspiration and do that. Because sometimes I'll go to a canvas, and a lot of times I don't copy from a photograph or anything. I'll sort of use my mind, what do I want to do? And I may not know. I may just start painting and with nothing in mind, and just see where it goes and how it comes and evolves sort of organically by itself.
You spend a lot of time outdoors, right? And, and traveling. What's the most unique place you've been?
Oh gosh,
So many.
I go on these bike trips, and I mean, I've been to Cuba where there was music everywhere and beautiful flowers and people and vibrant. I've been to Vietnam where there's. I just got back from biking in the Grand Tetons last week, and the mountains there were just incredible, and this open sky, and just Montana is really big sky country, and Chile, Argentina, it's been
It's the world traveler.
yeah, it's really, and I bring with, when I travel,
I was going to ask you that.
yeah, I bring a little book and some oil pastels so that I will, sketch and do some little sketches. So I have a great book, which is like a travel journal. And then sometimes I will use that as inspiration for painting. So it really does help and makes your vision just grow.
What impact would you hope that your work will have on people?
I hope it makes people happy, actually. I think that I would like somebody to look at it and appreciate the colors, appreciate the feeling that it gives them. I kind of try to do kind of happy paintings with kind of brush strokes. Like I'll put some great music on. Like one of my favorite things is the Gypsy Kings, and to sort of paint along with music going on and to try to embody that feeling of vibrancy and activity and happiness. So hopefully people get that from it.
How do you think artwork helps people appreciate nature, the universe, man?
That's a nice question. I think it makes them see things in a different way. Like, because if you look at a sunset, but then you see a painting of a sunset, you can compare the two, and it's not the same thing, but you might get the same feeling from it. And one of the things I get, my friends will send me photos of something they've seen in nature. They see a sunset, or they'll see a beautiful clouds, and they'll send me and say, "Oh, I thought maybe you might like this for a painting." So it makes them, I think, when they see something, they think of art, and they may see some parallels in that.
And how do you balance creativity with the business side of being an artist?
Yeah, that's very tough, because you don't want to do things. I don't want to do things just because I think it may sell. I don't even think of that. And maybe some people do. And once you know that certain things sell, you do get influenced by it. The first painting I did at Tower Press was from a postcard I had of a Tuscan hillside with these like cypress trees on the top, and it had a little house. And everybody loved this painting. And I sold it pretty early on, and somebody came back to my studio and said, "Oh, what about you sold that painting?" I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Oh, I loved it." And I said, "Well, I could paint you a new one, something like it. It won't be the same."
Right.
I painted about 6 of them because people kept saying, "Oh, I love this." So it sort of influenced my work in that people wanted it and I wanted to sell it. So I made them because I knew there was like painting to order. But normally I don't do that. I do what I want, what I think is important to me. And if it sells, it sells. I have some that I know are not going to sell. And another thing is interesting is that when I have an open studio, I may have 15 paintings on the wall. And, not all your work is good. Some are better than others. And I don't know what makes it good, but I'll have like 3 paintings that I really like, and I think they work. They just somehow sing. And when people come in, they're drawn to those same 3 paintings. That everybody likes those. And I wish I knew what it was. I couldn't define it, but there is something about it that makes it's right, and people are attracted to it. So you kind of want to do things that are right. And whatever does that mean then they sell? Probably, but I don't know what that is. So I can't say I don't have a formula that it's going to be good and it's going to sell.
I love that. I've never heard an artist say, that painting sings. I mean, that's a great way to express it.
Yeah, really, it does. you know it's just right.
You know it's just right.
Yeah.
Do you have like a preference, fiber or landscape painting? I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, no, I usually kind of go back and forth between the two. So I'll have a painting I'm working on, and then I'll start to be like, oh, like when you know it starts to sing, and then you're like, uh-oh, I'm screwing it up. It's like, stop. You're making it worse. So then I'll go and I may weave for a while. I just sort of look at the painting and do some weaving, and then go back. So I can go back and forth between the two, which is a nice treat.
But you started as a landscape artist, right? Before fiber?
I started as fiber.
Oh, wow, okay.
I took painting in college, but I really loved fiber. And so when I graduated college, I went to LA, and my sister was out there, and I started a weaving business. So I was doing commissions, and I was doing tapestries and stuff, but then I didn't want to be in the studio weaving all day long by myself. I was 27. I wasn't meeting anybody. I'm like, well, I don't want to do this. So, so I went to work for an art gallery so that I would weave and do that as well. But that was my first love. And then I met my husband and had kids, and it just is so time consuming to weave that I sort of stopped weaving for a while. So then I started painting. It's faster. You don't need a whole big loom. My loom is huge. You've seen it. Doesn't take up a whole room. So I started painting and loved that. It was easy. I could do it, put it away, and I could do a painting in much shorter time than it would take me to weave a rug.
What's the best advice you've ever gotten from someone in terms of art? Or an idea, something that you incorporated in your work? Or what's the best advice you could give an artist? Would you give an artist?
Yeah, I think what I would give an artist is to be daring, to connect and to push yourself to go outside your comfort zone. Do something that it's not run-of-the-mill. That's how you explore. Then when it works, you feel really good that you've sort of improved yourself. You've pushed yourself somehow and gone beyond your normal boundaries. Sometimes it may not work, and you could always start over. But whatever it is in and I think everybody should try to express themselves and their creativity in some way, whether it's singing or acting or painting or fishing. I don't know, that you should do things that make you feel creative, that push yourself and make you think outside the box. And, that's where I get my happiness from, when you see that it works.
What's next for Erica Miller? What are you working on? What can we expect?
Yeah, I'm working on a series of woven totems that I weave flat and then turn into a round form that is 6-7 feet high. So I have 3 of them right now that I'm working on. I'm working on some smaller ones to kind of, I don't know, but I'm thinking about building some kind of a little forest, because they kind of look like trees as well. So doing kind of a little installation. And I was thinking that when you have an open studio, you have to get stuff done and finished, and you want to get everything looking good. So it's an incentive to get your work going and to get in the studio every day, because life gets in the way, and suddenly I'm traveling, or I have a new grandson, or I have this or that. And so, but I thought, it'd be nice to have like a one-woman show, to have paintings and weavings and have them tell a story somehow and be together, and to really kind of push myself to get in there and really, because when I go a lot, my work gets better and better. When I go in and I'm there for a day or two, and then I'm not there for a week or two, it's harder to get started. But when you go a lot, it's like gets better and better.
That would be a great one-woman show in the Wooltex, to just have the will you call them totems?
Yep.
Yeah, totems there.
Yeah.
Hey.
You started me.
I'm gonna send you an invoice. Erica, thanks so much for being on the show. I mean, it's been fabulous talking to you.
Thanks, Cal. It was great. You're a great interviewer.
My pleasure.
Good questions. Thank you.
I want to thank my special guest, Erica Miller, for hanging out with us today on Creative Focus. So that's it, Cleveland. We're out. But remember, a true artist is not only inspired, but inspires others. I'm Cornell Calhoun III for TV 20 and Creative Focus. Until the next time becomes our time, be well, be safe.